You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. Make yourself famous. A podcast covering all things WWE.
I have now returned to save the WWE.
NXT.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
And AEW.
Holy wrestling. I couldn't be more happy.
Here are your hosts, Kyle Gagliardi and Jim Tucker.
What is going on, everyone? You're listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, hosted by the Marks, for the Marks, and I am your host, Mr. Wednesday Night, Kyle Gagliardi, as always, joined by my good friend, not Mr. Wednesday Night. I really want to reiterate that. His name is Jim Tucker, but I like to call him Ducky.
What's going on?
You had a little vibrato going on there when you were doing
well,
that.
You get it going.
You got to have the fist pumping. You guys can't see it.
Yes.
But
Hopefully
Tucky's pumping his fists while wearing a new shirt that you got from a pro wrestling crate.
Yes,
right?
Dax and Harwood, FTR. Talk heavy, hit hard, baby.
I like it. It's a clean look. It's simple. But, of course, like most wrestling T-shirts, it's black.
Yep.
And it's hot out right now, Tuck, so how you feeling?
I got to go right from the garage into the car. I had to suffer from the car to the door, and then, I'm making it.
That's not that bad. Hey, you going to post that video on YouTube? Did you got one going or no?
No, I have to do it.
Oh.
Maybe I'll do it between or after this while it's uploading.
Okay.
I totally forgot about it. So
I would ask you what are you up to lately, but I feel like I've seen a lot of you recently with
we've been
Wiffle
very
Ball,
Present.
Same
Yes.
old stuff.
Yep.
Cranking out some podcasts here when it's kind of tough right now. I mean, wrestling's in is weird the word still.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's because we're on that next phase. Like, what's next?
We're kind of on that plateau right now where we know there's no audience and you kind of know what to expect. We do have the horror show coming up.
Yeah, it's not Extreme Rules. It's the horror show at
Yes.
Extreme Rules.
So we'll see how that goes.
When is that? Is that
2 weeks?
Okay, I was gonna say that's not this
The
weekend.
Sunday, yeah. So we've got Griffo Ball in the morning that Sunday, and then Extreme Rules in the evening.
Okay, so we got stuff to do next weekend at
Yeah.
least. That means next week we will do an Extreme Rules show. Sorry, House of Horror. What the fuck is
Horror show
the horror
at
show?
Extreme Rules. Jeez.
I already hate it. I really do. But at least we had some good wrestling this week, which we'll get to in a second. But we're going to remind the listeners that we are a part of the Overtime Sports Network on Twitter @_OTSN. You can also follow them on Instagram under that same handle. And you can check out the website, otsportsnetwork.com. Tucky, not a lot of sports yet, but we're getting there maybe.
It sounds like they're close. The NBA's putting the wheels in motion. Guys are back in MLB parks working out. We'll see how that goes. It still feels a little like too good to be true.
I don't feel confident about it.
I also don't feel confident. We've got school coming back in 5-6 weeks. The Indianapolis area starts about 2 weeks earlier than we do and get out significantly earlier. So depending on how it goes, those first couple of weeks down there, it could impact the whole state. They've got a lot more kids. So, we're going to have to see. It's interesting.
So you still don't technically know what's going to happen. If
you're
listening, Tuck's a teacher.
Yes, I am a middle school teacher. As of right now, Lake and Porter County, green light openings. Kids are back in the building, and it's going to be a circus. So we'll see how it goes.
I don't envy your situation.
Yeah,
sorry, Tuck.
It's interesting. We'll figure it out. We'll get through it. And we'll make the same amount of money. So
hey, I guess that's all that really matters.
I guess there's that. I wish, because we're going to start wearing. We're going to be mask police and babysitters and whatever you do in class also has to be made available online for those that elect to do e-learning only. And it's a little bit of a mess, but we'll be back to e-learning in like 5 weeks.
So
I
was going to say, I don't know how
it ain't going to be long.
Because they have already announced, actually, too, that SummerSlam is not going to happen in front of people. But then I also saw, and this isn't obviously confirmed because these are just rumors, but I think the Twitter handle is @WrestleVotes on Twitter. He said that they are looking to move it back to possibly September. I'm talking about SummerSlam,
sure.
That is. So there is a possibility that there could be fans there.
Dude. Whenever you do it, pump it at drive-ins. Do it at drive-ins.
They're doing. I don't know if these are true, but like
Walmart's doing they've got like 160 locations. They're going to do drive-in shows.
That's wild.
We've got the one in Valpo right here that did the Garth Brooks like live concert he did.
Oh, okay.
So I think that would be a cool idea. At least give you some kind of fun.
I still feel like people would kind of come together and make a big thing out of that. Nobody's just going to sit in their cars.
Well, even if you're, if you've got a truck or you're sitting in the back of your car and you're going to see people and it's outside.
That's true.
But
you would need a truck like our special guest that we're going to have here.
Yeah.
On the second half
truck
of the show.
Or a blue Tacoma would be a nice one.
If heaven is anywhere, some would say.
Yeah. Rat's basically the only one.
I wouldn't agree with that. Yeah. Unless I was on the blue Tacomas. But, hey, that trade got vetoed, and we're talking about wiffle ball, which only about 2 or 3 of you listening
Thanks, Greg.
even care about. Thanks, Greg, and thanks to one of our listeners, Ryan Vogus.
Yep.
Also, don't forget, we are now on Spotify as well as Libsyn that we've already been on, iTunes and YouTube. So just search our name there. But this week, there will be no main roster talk. We're going to save that for next week since we got a pay-per-view coming up the following weekend. So we're going to start with NXT with the Great American Bash. And on the second half of the show, like I said, we are going to have a special guest to come on to talk about AEW's Fyter Fest. How does that sound, Tuck?
Let's do it.
All right, first step here, the NXT Great American Bash. We're not going to go through every single thing that happened, because we'd probably be here for a while.
Yes.
So we're going to touch on the main things, like what started off night 1 of the Great American Bash. You want to tell us about that one, Tuck?
Yeah, Tegan Nox becomes the number 1 contender for the NXT Women's Championship in the 4-way, right?
Yeah. That was with Yim, Candice, and Dakota Kai.
Yes. So kind of a fun part where the last 2 standing were Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai. And in that, when it came down to those 2, I thought Dakota Kai was probably going to win, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad that Tegan Nox got the win. It'll give us a good match here. From a full match perspective, it happened. It was okay. It wasn't a mess.
It started slow, I think, too.
Yeah. And whatever.
Yeah, and I've referenced this on past episodes. I love when we can get like a long-term story going. And Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox have had that ever since War Games when we were in attendance, and Dakota turned on Tegan.
Yeah.
That's still being referenced here, and it results in Tegan Nox ultimately getting the upper hand. She's the number 1 contender. And like we said, the match was solid. It wasn't great, but it was solid. And, of course, I'm a huge fan of Tegan Nox, as everybody knows. So I think this is a very big win for me personally.
Yes, correct. That would be correct. And, I think this feud benefits from the quarantine because they're trying to get legs out of stories that they normally wouldn't have. Live TV week to week with an audience almost becomes 52 independent little seasons where the storylines don't stretch as often as far.
Good point.
So it's good that they still have this in their back pocket. So
yeah, and then on this week's show, they showed a little video package with Tegan kind of training and with her dog, and then EO talking, and it was a good way to get everyone excited for next week. I don't think Tegan's going to win. Would you agree? Yeah, it's way too soon. But I mean, if you're going to have any babyface go up against EO and have a good match, you're probably going to get that out of Tegan Nox.
And you could put her over, yeah.
Yeah, and then her just getting these wins consistently over the past couple months, it's not going to hurt her by losing to EO. So
right.
Good decision there, I guess. Dakota Kai probably will have another chance down the road. But then also on night 1, we got the first ever strap match between Dexter Lumis and Roderick Strong. Kind of a short feud. I would say it's probably the end of this one since we had a strap match.
Yeah.
Thoughts on this stipulation? I know you probably haven't seen a lot since you became a fan, like strap matches.
No, really, I haven't seen a ton of strap matches, but I thought it went pretty well, knowing that those 2 have never really been in a strap match. So I thought it was pretty coordinated. Dexter Lumis is an animal.
You're a big fan of him, aren't you?
Yeah, because he's weird.
Yeah.
He's just weird. He's quirky.
Yeah.
That's right up my alley. So, if there's a new Dexter Lumis T-shirt popping up, I might have to cop it.
It better not be black.
It's got
to be like blue in the background because you know how his Tron kind of has that like wavy,
weird psychedelic kind of thing.
If you were tripping on acid, that would be quite the Titan.
Dexter might be. Yeah. He's weird.
You never know what that guy's up to.
Correct.
He's got a weird social media. Have you ever came across
No.
his Twitter? Check out his Twitter account. But
That's
yeah,
a new follow.
Yeah, you could that definitely should be a guy you're following. And I think it makes sense too if we know what happens in night 2's main event. I'm not going to spoil that quite yet, just in case people haven't, watched. Having Roderick Strong lose here makes sense if you get what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Because if we're going to move on with things and we're going to put somebody over, Dexter Lumis needed to get the win, and that's what happened here. The main event, though, from night 1 is what I thought personally was probably the best match from the first week of shows, whether that be Great American Bash or Fyter Fest. What do you think?
I would agree. I think NXT had the best match of the night, but I think AEW had the better show
On night 1.
Correct.
Yeah, I would agree with you there.
So,
and the car setup was interesting, but then when Sasha brought in her own vehicle, got driven to the ring, she had her dog with her. Like, that's a boss move.
That's a flex move, yeah.
Pun intended there. You see what I did there?
Yeah.
That's like old vintage Sasha Banks, and we got to see it because it was cool because she was part of NXT, and a big reason why it took off. But I thought the match was awesome in general. I wasn't expecting to see Asuka. That was a nice little wrinkle that they threw at us there at the end to help Io win. But it's one of those dream matches that we got to see, I think, because of the current conditions of the world. Like, there's so many people in the company that have COVID-19. I think it's over 30 now or something like that. So I don't know if we get this unless this whole no fans thing is happening. But we got it, and it was great.
Yeah, I thought it was a great match, and Sasha's been able to shine in the absence of Becky and Charlotte. She's becoming the show pony, really. Bayley is around, but Sasha has incentive. And, you go back to Monday when she faced off against Kairi Sane as well.
So is Kairi back then? I know we said we weren't talking main roster.
Well, I heard that she's only back for a short time and then she's going to kind of be done.
Yeah, I heard retiring.
Yeah.
She's just done wrestling.
So they're going to get the miles that they can out of her. And that would be a match you would want to see, Kairi Sane and Sasha. So at least they can check it off the box and say that it happened. But yeah, going back to the Sasha Banks and Io Shirai match, I like Io the more and more I see her. I haven't been very familiar with her run.
Yeah.
And now that she's kind of in the mainstream, she can go.
And she's in the spot too where I don't think she's a heel, but she's not like that pure babyface. She's not like Tegan Nox,
She can kind of be whatever audience she's catering to,
which is good for potential matches. You can have her face Tegan Nox next week, and then she faces a Sasha Banks the week before that. So she gets over there by beating Sasha Banks. But once again, we talked about it last week, and you just talked about it here. Sasha Banks got to be the MVP right now of maybe WWE in general.
Yeah, who else?
Keith Lee. But he kind of just blossomed recently, though, because he kind of had that little... we had that moment at Survivor Series weekend where he shined, and then he kind of fizzled off a little bit, won the North American Championship. But Sasha Banks over the last 3 weeks
on every program, and it's always good. You're going to get good from her. So,
and it's different too because we're used to seeing like Charlotte be that girl that's hopping brand to brand, but now we're getting Sasha and Bayley. So. Good main event there on night 1 of the Great American Bash. But then night 2, you started off with another hot match. You had Mia Yim and Candice LeRae continuing their feud in the second ever women's street fight. Do you know who was in the first ever women's street fight? They're both on the main roster. I'll give you that.
The main
but
roster.
They obviously were in NXT. So.
Okay, street fight, main roster, street fight.
I don't know. You might have been right when you started watching.
I can't think of it. To pick 2.
One of the ladies was on night 1.
One of the ladies was it Sasha Banks?
No.
Oh.
Asuka.
Oh, Asuka. Okay.
And Nikki Cross.
I was going to say, Nikki Cross was one of the, there's got to be someone that kind of fits the crazy a little bit.
I thought of that right away, too, when they kept saying second ever. I was like, what was the first? And then I remembered Nikki and Asuka. I think that was right before they both kind of got that call up, too. It was like their send off to the main roster. So... And I know we referenced this a few weeks ago as well, but Mia Yim, once again, keeps on growing on me. I'm sure she's growing on you too, right?
I thought this was a better first match than the other one, honestly. I enjoyed watching Miriam and Candice go after it.
Then AEW's, or are you talking about night
then
one?
NXT's 4-woman.
Okay,
yeah.
Sure.
I enjoyed it, and Mia had some things going for her. She introduced the brass knuckles. That was going to be the thing that got her over, and it ended up being the reason she fell. So.
Yeah, and they incorporated a lot of things, too. Like, I mean, obviously you can't go into the crowd, but they were going outside of the arena, going through tables. Bunch of chairs were involved, and then that finishing spot, like you said, with the brass knuckles, that's why Mia ended up losing, because Candice got a hold of them, hit her, and then hit that swing net breaker onto chairs for the 3 count. And I thought it was a very, very good match, a good way to start the show. But I like the production value at the end. They kind of showed just both of these women just spent after going through that. Neither of them were getting up. They were on the mat for, and they did, how they did that screen-on-screen action. They kept them in that ring for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it gives you the validity that they actually got after it.
Yeah, and they definitely did. So Candice LeRae getting a big win on night 2 of the Great American Bash. I don't think that hurts Mia Yim.
No,
per se.
Because she always has in the street fight. She always has the argument of things that were introduced and things like that. So.
Yeah, well, that was her fault. Tuck. Yeah. Why don't you not bring brass knuckles into a street fight? Maybe you won't lose.
I think it was a great idea. If I'm going to do a street fight,
it was, yeah, but it didn't work.
Nope.
It always works for the bad guy, or in this case, the bad girl. But the next match I want to talk about is Isaiah Swerve Scott versus Johnny Gargano. Was really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, we've been high on Swerve for a long time. We said that he was going to win a strap in 2020.
I said that.
We're halfway through. I agreed. So, and that it's a wee pod thing.
Yeah, okay, sure.
We're halfway through.
Hop on that take.
Halfway through the year, are you still hot with that take?
I'm going to stay with my take.
In the next 6 months.
And I'm going to clip this soundbite because I know my guy Swerve likes my tweets. Isaiah Swerve Scott will win championship gold in 2020, Tuck.
I agree. You're yelling at me.
I just want to get that point out.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that match, though. What about you?
I thought it was good, too. I tried to have this match in my head be the one that I could scroll through Twitter on and pop up, but I noticed that my eyes were glued to the screen a lot more than I thought they originally would be because there seemed to be no consequence in it.
Nothing was on the line.
It's just a match, right? But
an exhibition, you could say.
Yeah, when 2 people have a match like this, and it ends up keeping you glued to the screen, I think everybody wins. And Swerve looks good still. Johnny Gargano gets the win. Candice LeRae, they're looking strong as a couple.
Yeah, it was a big night for them.
Yeah.
Johnny Gargano in general is just consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can put him in the ring with anyone. He's had great matches with Keith Lee, and he had that great match with Scott last night. And it's just showing you that guy's NXT, right?
He is.
If you look at the face of NXT, it probably is Johnny Gargano.
Yep.
Also, speaking of another face, where's Tommaso Ciampa? Did Karrion Kross kill him?
He might have. He might have, honestly, yeah.
People are asking.
Yes.
Where's Tommaso Ciampa? We need a wanted poster out there. That's what we got to get our graphic team on and tweet it out on OTM.
Yes.
Tommaso Ciampa. But yeah, very good match there between Swerve and Gargano. Gargano getting the win, of course, which there was other things that happened. Don't feel like I need to reference it because we had a big thing going on in the main event of night 2 of the Great American Bash, and that was North American champion Keith Lee versus the NXT champion Adam Cole. Baby! Both belts would be on the line. First off, before this match, did you avoid spoilers up into it?
The entire time I avoided spoilers.
You did?
I had no idea going into the match
That's good.
And I went into the match still thinking that it was going to be a no finish or something was going to happen.
I don't know how you avoided it.
I have many Twitter accounts. As I approach, the Couch Baseball account becomes my main scroller because there's no wrestling connected to that.
Well, we could ruin that somehow.
Any wrestling affiliation that I had on my Facebook has been removed.
Jesus, so man, you take this seriously.
Yes, my personal Twitter has wrestling content, and then I have the OTM Twitter that is absolutely wrestling content. Yeah. Other than that, I have avenues where I can avoid. Yes.
I got all the way up until the day before. So Tuesday, I think I just clicked on one of the tweets that NXT had. First off, why would I do that? That's probably asking for it. And then one of the replies had the spoiler there. So spoiler alert right now. If you haven't seen the main event or you've avoided it on social media, we're about to spoil the main event.
You're going to have to click up about 5 minutes.
5, yeah.
That's
5's
gonna
a
be
safe
safe,
bet,
yeah.
yeah. So this match in general was a lengthy one, and we didn't get any commercials, which I liked. I thought that was a nice touch. It gave it that big fight feel, like you can't turn away from it.
Well, and starting the match with 20, 29, 28 minutes left in the show, that was where I was like, what kind of thing could happen in 28 minutes for this not to have a finish?
Yeah, that also could help your prediction of that.
And then there could be a run-in. There could be some other stuff. So you did have the ambiguity from that standpoint of if there would actually be a definitive finish.
Right.
And,
we did get a finish. But, first, throughout this entire match, we had Lee going through plexiglass, which was kind of cool because months ago he sent Adam Cole flying into the crowd, and now Lee's the one going through the glass now. We had a lot of counters in this one. I mean, this was the storytelling coming to life here of the big man versus that smart, wise, and crafty heel, and Adam Cole plays that better than anyone else probably could.
Yeah, I agree. And then the back and forth between the two of them, they both had moments where you thought they would win at any point.
Yeah.
Adam Cole got on a heater for a while, just wearing him down. The knee pad comes off.
Well, speaking of that knee pad, how about the first time he tried to drop the knee pad down and then Lee just immediately grabbed onto it? I thought that was a nice little touch there.
Yeah, we're not going there, which shows Keith Lee's also smart too. He's not just a big brute. He's learning or becoming more cerebral in the ring. He is limitless.
That's what they say. But after all of that, after an amazing main event, we have a brand new NXT champion who is now the first superstar to hold 2 belts at the same time in NXT, and his name is Keith Lee. For me, I don't think you could do much better than this. I'd say it's an A on the main event, but I knew who the winner was going into it. I said a couple weeks ago, though, that I thought Keith Lee was going to win on the show. Mm-hmm. Keith Lee gets his moment, and what a moment that is right there.
Yeah, and now you have options with Adam Cole. Does he ascend to the main roster? What does that look like? Does he stay in NXT?
I'm scared.
We'll see what it looks like. I am nervous for what it looks like his future in the main roster.
I saw a tweet today, and I'm going to go to my phone because I don't credit people enough on Twitter. And then again, they're probably not even going to listen to this, so whatever. I just retweeted it.
But due diligence.
Yes. So at Slate_S42 said, Adam Cole's debut on the main roster should be exactly how he debuted in NXT, attacking the top guy, which is, yet again, Drew McIntyre when he debuted in NXT. I think that's the way you do it right there.
Yeah, we're going to have to tag him when we post the episode, make sure he gets his just due. But that would be a great idea. I did not know that that's how he was introduced to NXT. So that's very cool.
And he's one of the few guys when they debut in NXT that I actually knew from before because he was in Bullet Club and all that with the Young Bucks. But if we go full circle here, because obviously we're done with Lee and Cole because you saw who was staring down Keith Lee as he was celebrating.
Who?
Karrion Kross. You didn't notice that?
I didn't notice that, no.
Karrion Kross and Scarlett were hanging out in a room up above just gazing down at Keith Lee celebrating. So
Ooh-wee.
It was a nice little touch there because it's like, oh, cool moment for Keith Lee. He just became the first ever 2-belt champion in NXT, the second African-American NXT champion. Do you know who the other one is?
Yeah.
Come on. He's a main roster guy.
Oh, is he?
He's in a tag team on the main roster.
Is it Big E?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay.
Big E was the second champion. I think he beat Seth Rollins.
Oh, nice.
The NXT champion, yeah. So Karrion Kross looks like to be next in line. And do you put both belts on the line with Kross? No.
No, there's got to be a funky stipulation. There's got to be something there where this is an easy way to get Kross some gold and still keep heat on Keith Lee.
Which belt do you think he would take then? Kross doesn't seem like a North American title guy.
Well, probably that, right? I don't know.
I don't think he's I think he's more. I think if you really want to push Karrion Kross to the moon, just take that NXT championship away from Keith Lee right away.
Yeah.
Just snatch it from him in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Give him a short reign, and then everybody's feeling vulnerable for Keith Lee, but he's still got the North American title.
Yeah.
Or you could do it vice versa. I don't know.
But and it gives them options.
Yeah.
You don't always have to. It doesn't mean that 2 straps are put on one guy for a long time. So.
Anything else from the Great American Bash that you want to touch on?
No, I thought it was good. 2 weeks, a counter punch or counter programming to Fyter Fest.
Yeah.
The subtle jab at Cody using the Great American Bash, which was Dusty's creation.
They weren't the only ones that were taking jabs, though.
Oh, yeah.
We'll touch on that, I'm sure, in the second half of this.
So, I thought it was a good show. Very happy with it, and looking forward to see how it goes over time, because now, Adam Cole's not the champion. So we'll see what NXT looks like without Adam Cole at the top.
Yeah, that's the big question mark. What's next for the Undisputed Era? Where do they go with the North American title, I think, is a storyline. Io Shirai's progression with the women's title. And you can't forget Breezango. They have a title match coming up, too, for Imperium's tag title. So there's a lot going on in NXT.
Yep. They got a lot of options, and that's why NXT is always a solid bet on Wednesday nights. You can't lose on Wednesday nights, though, with AEW and NXT.
You can't.
It's interesting that those 2 brands have become the most talked about when the main roster is the biggest moneymaker.
Dude, I don't even want to talk about the main roster right now. The last couple, and they had good couple weeks.
Yeah, we talked about it. We piped them up.
And now I just don't care. We don't care.
Nope.
We do care about AEW. So we're going to take a break here, come back with a special guest, and we're going to talk about AEW Fyter Fest.
Hear what some of the people are saying on this intermission here.
That's
and if
true.
you'd like to be added to it, leave us a review on Spotify or iTunes. Give us that 5-star review. We'd appreciate it. We'll see you in a minute.
What's everybody saying about the On the Mark podcast?
It's just insane, and I love it.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
Unlike any other.
It's a great show.
We'll be right back after a brief intermission.
And we're back to discuss both weeks of AEW's Fyter Fest. But first, Tucky, why don't you introduce our special guest?
A man like no other, a fan like no other, wearing the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast T-shirt, a baseball legend at Couts High School, a wiffle prodigy in the making. Ladies and gentlemen, we introduce to you to discuss All Elite Wrestling's 2-week Fyter Fest, Ian Garavaglia.
What's going on, boys?
Ian, welcome to the show,
back.
man. Finally got you on after 31 episodes.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You went to Dynamite with us, right? A couple months ago?
Dynamite with us, Raw with myself and Mikey Wilson from the Region Degenerates podcast and a Better Class of Losers podcast, who's kind of been inactive thanks to no sports,
I'm going to say a lot of things are inactive right now, but we're still going.
Yeah, so I had the pleasure of taking Ian to his first ever live wrestling event at Raw. Terrible seats in the nosebleeds, still loved it.
Yep.
And he got to see the Rey Mysterio title change when he won the U.S.
I was
title.
going to say,
was great.
Tell us about your first live wrestling experience. What was that like for you?
It was okay. So I feel like I had it perfect because I was able to get both sides. I mean, Raw at the time was not highly praised. Obviously, SmackDown at that time, I'm not going to say it's changed much, but SmackDown at that time was many could say the better brand of the two.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And it was I'm an AEW guy, and I liked Raw better than that Dynamite. But that Dynamite that day, even though it was in Chicago, it was weak.
We got a very bad Dynamite. We've talked about
We
that.
were so excited for it, too, sitting in the car, drinking our adult beverages while Ian watched us.
Yeah, you're not of age.
No,
Ian, tell the listeners, how old are you? You're your youngest guest to date.
I'm 18.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting
Wow.
he's still 18, though.
And he just finished his first year of college.
Yeah, where do you tell the listeners, where do you go to college? What are you up to nowadays?
I'm at Indiana State University in Terre Haute, home of the Sycamores. Go Blue.
All right.
Yeah. Well, I'm studying
Yeah.
architectural engineering and,
Playing wiffle ball with us.
Playing wiffle ball with the boys,
Yeah.
Carrying the Porkers.
Yes, the Porkers are a member of the Leroy Wiffle Ball Association. Gags and I are on the Barnstormers in that league. We're
BS.
currently in first place.
Of course.
Humble brag.
Yeah, not a big deal or anything. But Ian, one thing we always ask our special guests is, What specifically got you into pro wrestling? There's always maybe one event or one match that you ran into that caught your attention, or maybe you were kind of just grown up into it. Was there any specific moment where you became a fan of pro wrestling, or how long have you been watching it in general?
Well, since I was like younger, hard to believe. I was younger at a time.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, I watched it with my dad a lot, and every now and then, and whenever it turned on the TV, I could vaguely remember that was what grew my love from Rey Mysterio. Like, I'd see him all the time and be like, holy shit, this is insane.
Is that one of your favorites of all time, Ray?
Probably.
Yeah.
Most definitely, yeah. Yeah, but I watched that since I was little. Completely forgot about it through middle school and high school, and
it's
then
kind
up
of
until
a trend you see. You do. It's not uncommon for people to get so consumed. Well, and being a 9th grade wrestling fan in high school, it's a tough look because you might still love and enjoy the product, but everyone's like, "Well, you know, it's fake, right?"
I hate that. I hate
know.
that. Obviously, it's fake. Why? I'm not.
It's not fake. It's scripted.
Thank you. Okay, I was going to say that. Yeah.
And listening to the Busted Open podcast, Effie was on there, and he called it simulated combat.
Yeah.
You're still getting hurt. It's still combat.
Yeah.
Like, you can if they don't hit you the way they should, you can get hurt. Ask Becky Lynch, broken nose. Ask anyone that Nia Jax faced, basically injured, right? So simulated combat, right?
Yeah.
And when you go to Broadway to watch a show, the gun in the show isn't real.
Wait, it's not?
No, you didn't. Boys,
Ian and
so
I
you
thought
go
about
to see scripted entertainment. This is our scripted entertainment, and people, at that age especially, laugh at you. Now that we're older, 2 of us, it doesn't matter. Who cares?
I'm still there.
Still a young boy, but you can buy
you're
dip,
catching up.
right? That's one thing they can do at 18.
21 now.
Yeah, it's 21.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even tell Ian when I'm drunk to, hey, go get me a tin of dip.
Yep, can't do that.
Well, the
He can
times are
pick you
changing.
up. He can pick you up and drive you home.
You've done that before.
I have actually done that before.
Can't confirm Ian has told me. So there really wasn't a specific, event or anything. You kind of just, your dad.
Yeah, well, back to it. I was, actually when I was sophomore, Tuck came and coached me at baseball at Couts High School, and I saw that he was into wrestling. I'm like, man, it was literally not even anything that just sparked right then and there. I was like, I just kind of thought about that, put that in the back of my head, and then I was actually flipping through channels on my TV, and I'm like, Monday Night Raw. Let's try it out. Let's watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I watched it, and I'm like, I could get behind this again. Because it was I think it was, I want to say it was December 2016.
Oh, he even knows the month.
I think it was the New Year's episode of 2016.
Which nobody watches.
Those are usually the cheeks episodes.
Yeah, and I was like, this ain't actually that bad. I kind of want to. I'll give it another try next week. See if it keeps catching. And I just kept finding myself going back to it, and it was a good time.
So it's been about 4 years now that you consistently been watching, but you watch more AEW, don't you?
Yes. Yeah.
Is there a specific reason why they have grabbed your attention and not WWE as much?
I don't know. It's AEW's just sparked my curiosity more than anything. I was tired of the same old. Once you really look into WWE's product, it's a lot of the same storylines. You could kind of start telling who's going to win. The bad guy, heels nabbing at the face, and whatever. It was the best moments. It's when you started realizing it was bad is when people were getting hit off guard in WWE when something didn't actually go the way you expected it to go, which happened all the time. And then AEW came along and they're like, we're going to change wrestling. And I mean, they did. Not as big as they thought they were going to make it.
Probably.
But they definitely made a change to everything. And it's the whole sports side that they've done. They've kind of
wins and losses.
Yeah, they went away from sports entertainment and tried to shift a little bit more towards sports.
Right.
Which really, that's pretty cool with me,
Big sports guy.
Well, and I think part of it too that we were on the fence about it. We didn't know anybody.
We didn't.
We watched Double or Nothing here, and we're Googling people as they popped up. That first Double or Nothing, and being able to learn and kind of grow with these people within the company has been something that's different than what you experience with the main roster as well.
Yeah, it's kind of like just starting into your WWE fandom, but with a different company.
Yeah.
You're like you said, just totally new scene, which is nice and exciting. So Fyter Fest, this was a 2-week event, just like the Great American Bash that we talked about. On night one, we saw a majority of the title matches. The first one we're going to talk about here is Hikaru Shida. She retained her AEW Women's title against Penelope Ford. And honestly, guys, in my opinion, this was probably Penelope Ford's best match she's had in AEW. I don't know if you guys would agree with me, but before this, I wasn't a huge fan of her. What did you think about her performance here?
Yeah, I was the same way. We talked about this, and I actually compared her to, no offense to her, but Dana Brooke of WWE, kind of a showy,
For the looks.
For the looks, exactly. Yeah. And I didn't catch on to her at first. I think with Kip Sabian, once he was added onto that, she started catching on a little bit more.
Different dynamic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was less kind of, showy, more I can actually do something,
Yeah, like she has worth out there. She's
exactly.
not just there for something.
Exactly.
But, Tuck, what do you think of Penelope Ford's performance here? I know she didn't get the win. Shida retains, keeps her momentum going, but
I thought they gave her more shine than I expected. I thought it was going to be close to a squash, if anything. But Shida retains, looks strong. Penelope looks strong coming out of it, giving the champion a little bit of a run. So I think Penelope's stock is rising.
I think what really sold Penelope as being an actual competitor, which I thought it was going to be, Kip Sabian would be interfering with the match, but he got ejected right at the beginning of it, which I was like, oh, wow. Either this is going to be, again, like you said, a squash match, or is actually going to be really competitive, and it turned out to be.
She had her fair share of near falls. There was a couple times, I know we were talking about it at Wiffle Ball, that we thought there was a chance Penelope Ford to win, but Shida continues her momentum. You a big fan of Hikaru Shida?
I am. I like it, yeah.
Yeah, she's probably one of my favorite ones. I like Britt Baker, obviously, as everybody knows that listens, but Shida, she's the right answer right now, but it seems like Nyla Rose is going to be getting another shot soon, so with all the injuries with Statlander and Britt Baker, I guess Nyla's the right way to go.
And another thing is with the COVID, all the borders are shut down. And if you listen to the Unrestricted podcast with AEW, they talk about it all the time on how the women's division is like half of what it is.
Oh, why Pentagon hasn't been showed as much?
Exactly. Yeah, Pentagon and actually no, it was just Pentagon.
Yeah, it was just Pentagon.
Yeah,
because he was in some Mexican tournament or something. Like that.
Yep. Yeah. But all of them are over borders, so.
Yeah, it's a tough situation right now, but that wasn't the only title match, of course, on night one. Cody Rhodes faced off against Jake Hager. He would end up retaining his TNT championship. I know, Tuck, we both weren't really excited going into this one, and it turned out to be a solid match, very technical, but no, Jake Hager, I just don't know, man.
He doesn't do it for me, but the match was better than I thought it would be, and it leaves us in a spot where Cody looks tarnished a little bit, the lengths that he had to go to win, because Hager essentially had him tapped out.
He did.
Yeah.
Had a shot.
Had him in a submission at the end.
Yeah.
Which is why this feud might not be over. What do you think?
Well, I think long term, when you have to put a big name up against Cody, that's the move. You can use the open challenges to introduce new talent, expose people.
Like Sonny Kiss next week.
Yeah, Sonny Kiss.
Right. Cody's always on Twitter. There's a possibility a guy that I like in the Indies, his name is Warhorse. He's just goofy and he rules ass. That's like his tagline.
I've never heard of this guy. Ian obviously knows who it is.
Yeah. Cody is mentioned on Twitter. Hey, maybe it could happen. And that's a cool aspect of wrestling where you don't see that often, where you get a shot, So I think that is the long-term play. You can always have Hager on the back burner looming, and you know that there's going to be another match. I'm not dying to see it, but it makes sense.
Ian, what do you think about this TNT Championship match?
Well, I'm actually kind of the opposite, or not necessarily complete opposite, but I'm starting to catch on to Jake Hager and like what his deal is.
He would be a Jake Hager guy.
He is an MMA guy. He's he's coming here. It's kind of like I hate comparing him to WWE people, but he's the Brock Lesnar of AEW.
Oh,
he's
come
here.
on.
You know what I mean?
Come on.
There's the charisma isn't really there.
That's a no from me, dog.
He's not as big an intimidating.
No.
I get where you're seeing the crossover appeal.
Yeah. He's supposed to be the badass that could just tap anyone out. He's the undefeated,
Yeah, that's true. Fair. I guess it's not that dumb of a comparison.
Yeah, that's just my take.
Still a no from me, dog.
No, you can have that take. That's why I like that here. But afterwards, though, the thing that we haven't really brought up is Hager hit a referee. I'm wondering if this is somehow a way to suspend him maybe revisit this situation in the future.
Yeah.
Because they really haven't referenced it in a week. So, I don't know. What do you think about the finish? He kind of had him in a submission. Cody pinned him. Is this the end of that, or are we getting more?
It's going to be more, but I think I actually heard through the grapevine that it was actually just to get Jake Hager out of Chris Jericho's corner.
Oh, really?
This in the week 2, yeah. And so they wanted a reason for him to not be in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
Okay.
He still had Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah, and then but that was just to compare. It was the 2 and 2 with best friends. Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. So
yeah,
overall, we were okay with that match. Wasn't the greatest, but Cody retained, so that's pretty cool. The main event from night 1 was probably the biggest upheaval going into the show. The best friends versus Kenny Omega and Hangman Page, and I remember this one being good, but honestly, I've watched so much wrestling since last Wednesday that I kind of forgot about this match. I don't know if any of you guys can recall on stuff that happened in this.
I actually thought this Hangman and Page match was better than the one we got on week 2. I thought the wrestling was better. I liked the spot where they got dropped off in the van,
by Trent's mom.
Yeah, and Trent's mom was at the show cheering them on, a little goofy, but I thought the wrestling was good, and I thought Hangman and Kenny definitely gave a better match in week 1 than week 2. Ian?
I would have to agree with that, actually. Yeah, I mean, I said it beforehand. I thought best friends were actually going to take the titles.
Same.
I genuinely did, because I didn't see where they were going with Kenny and Page. I didn't. I mean, apparently they're trying to make it seem like things are clicking now between them two. So maybe they're going to keep going on with this run, which personally I personally don't understand it, since they're both singles guys, but I don't know.
So my question to the two of you, what tag team will be the next tag team to hold the gold?
The team that won in night 2 in the 8-man tag.
But I mean, there were two teams that won that.
The guys that got the pin, the Lucha Brothers.
That's your call?
Yeah.
Ian?
Got to be a heel, right?
It's got to be, but they're going to save FTR for sure and the Young Bucks. Mm-hmm. They're going to have their own thing, because FTR and Lucha Bros are doing Fight for the Fallen
next week. Yep.
So maybe, yeah, that would make sense if Lucha Bros take the momentum. I could see it. Yeah, I could see it. Lucha Bros.
So he likes my pick.
Lucha
good pick.
Bros.
We going clean sweep there.
Settle. No, the Bucks are actually going to be the next ones that get it. Yeah. Big, lot of turmoil.
Isn't that who they beat at Revolution?
It's going to be a long time from now, too. Okay. I don't think that the titles are going to get flipped for a while. Honestly,
well, it seems like the tag titles are kind of turning into what the TNT title was meant to be, where it's just being defended every week, which I'm not complaining about.
No, it's fun. I that's the best thing about AEW is their tag team. No doubt,
100%. So they retain there in the main event. I thought the best friends were going to win too there, Ian, but I guess we're going on with this story a little longer.
Best friends.
Wow.
Ian, on cue.
Pretty good.
Not even a part of the show when he got that.
Pretty
but
good.
That's all I got from night 1. Night 2, before we get into what actually happened, the ratings came in right before you showed up, Ian. NXT for the third straight week getting more viewers with 759,000 to AEW's 715. So close. But once again, NXT getting the edge.
Here's the thing. I'm not going to make any excuse for obviously NXT has got a lot more fans. That's hands down.
Well,
but
they've only won 3 weeks this year, though.
They have the WWE back.
Yeah.
Right.
They have the big company. But another thing is AEW has so much YouTube backing. Like, they have millions of views all the time for every single one of their matches. It's the YouTube backing. I'm sure there's a whole bunch of people that just don't even watch AEW Dynamite every Wednesday. And it's like, it's more, it's easier for me to just watch it on YouTube after, because it's full matches.
And AEW won the key demo, which is also important to note. They won 18-49 again. So it's kind of that voting, that voting debate, like the popular vote when voting for a president.
Yep.
In the Electoral College. So there's two different things, right? So AEW, I think the end of it, wrestling fans win on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And
that's 1.5 million people watching wrestling.
Exactly.
And you're in a good spot. So
yeah, for sure. So the first matchup on night 2 was Kenny Omega and Hangman Page getting another title defense against Private Party to kick off the show. I thought I'm thinking that the dynamic of Matt Hardy with Private Party is a little weird, but I kind of get it at the same time because it happened to the Hardys when they were coming into WWE with Michael Hayes. So maybe that's what they're doing here. But the match was, like Tuck said, not as good as night one against the Best Friends, but Private Party, they're getting enough exposure on AEW where a loss right here probably doesn't hurt them.
No, of course
would you
not.
say?
No. They still got Matt Hardy behind them.
Yeah, that's true.
Hardy Party.
What do you think in general about this?
It was a great match again, but it definitely was not. It didn't top the first night, that's for sure. I mean, but the thing was, I feel like it was both Private Party and Paige and Omega already had their matches first night. I feel like they were kind of, I don't know, they used pretty much a lot of that they had in their matches. Yeah, and they were gassed, but I don't know. It wasn't. I didn't fall asleep during it, but it wasn't a.
If we're comparing openers, because I know Tuck watched it, I would say that Mia Yim and Candice LeRae was more exciting.
I agree. And when I see Private Party, I have come to expect the unexpected, and I enjoy their athleticism. And they didn't shine as much as I thought they would, so it was a little bit of a snoozer for me. Not terrible, but
I also think Private Party needs a little more substance. Like, we know they're very good wrestlers, they're very entertaining, and they're electric in the ring, but I need more behind it. They're just like these guys that like to party and they're flashy.
Yeah.
Like, I need an aggressive side from them, too, because everybody has both sides of the spectrum. And I also hate their new song. Where's the old one?
I know.
Yep.
How's this one start? Oh my God, it's Private Party.
I don't even care. It's the old theme song is the truth.
I agree with you because it's a private party. Did I just blow the speakers?
No, I took feedback protection off.
Oh, that's good.
Nice.
He's prepared.
Way to think ahead. Yeah, way to think ahead.
This next matchup is interesting because I know you two are very fond of each of these men. We had Joey Janela versus Lance Archer. Ian, big fan of Lance Archer.
Huge.
Tuck, early on, was a big fan of Joey Janela. You talked to me before the show, Tuck, and you said you liked the way that this match was booked. Can you elaborate a little more on that?
Because I went into it thinking it was going to be a 20-second squash match, and Joey Janela had moments. They booked him a little bit stronger than I thought they would, and I think they have to in order for Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss to remain relevant in whatever they're going to do with them.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of fun watching this match. It was better than the tag match in my opinion. I thought Joey Janela actually shined. I am the Tuck buy a shirt meter is back to halfway.
Okay.
That's how I gauge if I like people, if I want their T-shirts or
Got
not.
the shirt? Yep.
Yeah.
And Ian uses Lance Archer's walk-up song for Wiffle Ball, so you obviously are a big fan.
That's
right?
a flex.
I don't know. I've loved Lance Archer's build. I wasn't actually there. I wasn't watching the product as he was being introduced into the company, but I was there for when he started coming in and doing his matches. Like, I was there for his first match, and it was just domination from the beginning. It was like, this guy is a badass.
You never saw any of his work from overseas?
I went back and watched it.
Okay.
I went back and watched it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got a way of intimidation. It's starting to get a little cheesy with I like the whole everybody dies thing, but it's getting a little out there. But his matches, the way he was booked at the beginning, I don't know. And the TNT Championship was a really fun thing to watch.
Yeah, that's probably the toughest opponent that Cody's had to date.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But like Tuck was saying, I think this match showed off Joey Janela's strengths while making Lance Archer still look strong. There's just no way you can have Lance Archer lose this match to Joey Janela. No. That would kill every momentum. But I don't know if you noticed this at the end of the match on commentary. They really made a point that they're like, Lance Archer can go after any title whenever he wants, and nobody's going to say anything. It goes off your point.
He's got momentum.
Yeah, he's a monster. So I could see how you're a big fan of him. But if Brian Cage, we're going to throw a hypothetical out to you, Ian, because you're the big AEW guy. If Brian Cage doesn't win, do you think Lance Archer could jump right into the world title scene?
I don't think Brian Cage is going to win. I think Darby's going to go straight after him because obviously there's something sparking there.
Oh yeah, that's true.
There's
Good
something
point.
there.
Yeah.
With the what is it? The FTW title that just got introduced.
Yeah, we're.
I don't know.
We will talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. So I could see him going after it, but I don't know if they want to throw that on him yet. Yeah. What if they throw him against Cody? get him some title to play with a little bit, show his strengths.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I guess we'll find out. But yeah, Lance Archer gets a win over Joey Janela, and then the championship that you were just talking about that Taz introduced this week, the FTW Championship. I don't think any of us know the history.
So I have read the history.
Let's hear it.
There have been 3 people, including Brian Cage, to hold the FTW World title.
Oh, they're counting that now, that Brian Cage is legit.
Well, yeah.
It's legit.
Now, here's what the FTW title is. It is an unsanctioned title, much like the $1 Million title that WWE had, right? So the $1 Million Championship. So basically, Taz created the FTW Championship in ECW.
Mm-hmm. So it's a prop.
It was introduced as other titles were being dropped due to injury, and basically, it's not a sanctioned title. I don't know what FTW stands for.
I thought it was
Fuck the world.
I think it said "fuck the world."
Is it really?
I think it actually is "fuck the world."
I was just guessing.
Like on the belt.
I don't know if it's on the belt. I think
don't
that's
think it says it, but the acronym.
Yeah, well, that's the actual the popular acronym. So Brian Cage is now the holder of it.
He's correct. Brian Cage is saying, fuck the world.
The last owner or holder of the belt was 21 years ago, 1999. Who held it?
Bully Ray?
No, it's very, very obvious.
Is it? Is it Taz?
Yes,
It's just
Taz.
Okay, yeah.
There is one other person that has held the FTW World title, and I don't think that either of you will get it. You know this wrestler, old wrestler.
Are they active?
No. Nope. I don't have one of their T-shirts.
There's no way I'm going to be able to just get this off the top of my head.
It was
Hardcore Holly.
Nope. Starts with an S.
Scott Steiner.
Oh, I didn't hate
No.
that guess.
4 letters in the name. Come on.
Sami Zayn.
4 letters
Yep.
in the whole name. Sabu.
Oh, Sabu.
Sabu,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, it was a triple threat match. Sabu won a triple threat that was Taz, Sabu, and Justin Credible on ECW that was aired. He won that in Philadelphia, and Taz won it back. And then it became unified in 1999. They fought each other. The winner basically got the ECW World Heavyweight, which put the FTW one
on the shelf.
Yeah, on the shelf. And now Brian Cage
Brought it off the
Good
shelf.
for Brian Cage,
to his
man.
guy.
Just walking into the company and winning belts. It's like Zack Ryder's Internet Championship that he made up virtually.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
That's basically
Zack
basically
Ryder,
it.
a.k.a. Matt Cardona. Are we going to see him in AEW?
I personally do think so.
They're just going to pick up everybody that
Yeah,
leave in
probably.
WWE?
I think they might stop at him.
They want to, I think.
They
Stop.
why yeah. They want to keep bringing in indie talent.
Yeah, you gotta create your own eventually.
Brian Pillman Jr.
Oh yeah, he made his debut on Dark. Did you see that?
I did not watch it.
It
but
was
I heard
against.
about
You watch Dark, don't you? Ian?
I do watch Dark.
Spears?
It was against Spears, yeah, and he did the whole weighted glove thing, which I think is stupid. But he
Yeah.
didn't actually win with the glove. He won fair and square, but
after using the glove.
no.
he didn't use
He used it after.
Oh,
just to
okay.
Oh,
Beat the
Okay.
we're not Spears guys on the show. I know you listen.
Yeah,
on occasion.
I
Doesn't do it for you either.
no. He's trying to find it. He's trying. Yeah, at least he's trying to change a little bit, but hasn't changed much.
He beat Brian Pillman Jr., so congrats to him on the big
Yeah.
win
There
on
you go.
Fyter Fest week. But the last 2 matches we're going to talk about are very talked about right now on social media. We have FTR and the Young Bucks versus the Butcher and the Blade and the Lucha Bros. Who wants to start this one off?
I'll start it off.
Okay, yeah, and then we can go to our guests after.
As the old man get off my lawn guy, I really liked it. And going into it, I have a changed perspective on AEW tag matches. I also really appreciated a moment where they tagged in to get everybody in the ring for the 10-second count. So they are becoming more aware of the rules and trying to appreciate it. Like you have in the notes here, does get clunky at times. Which cameras should be on and active.
Touch
but
and steal my take again.
There's 8 people in the ring, and that's why Gags shares the notes with me.
So he
And
can
that's all
steal my takes.
I enjoyed it. I liked the Canadian Destroyer spot. Kyle, what did you think
great.
about it? I thought it was cool.
The Canadian Destroyer spot on the outside was very interesting. I'm going to say that, very interesting, because realistically that makes no sense. Why would you do that in a wrestling match? You don't need to. But in that same sense, it was very cool and innovative, and with my eyes.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, whoa.
That was the first time I have genuinely popped in a wrestling. That was the first time I was like, holy shit, that
Ian's
just
first
happened.
Pop.
That was the first time I actually did that.
My first actual pop was the first time I watched wrestling, because I watched when Money in the Bank when CM Punk beat John Cena in Chicago. So yeah, a very good pay-per-view to start watching wrestling.
Yeah.
But
Jeez.
Ian, what were your takes on this 8-man tag match here?
I went into it thinking that it was going to be absolutely amazing, and it was pretty damn good. It was solid tag team wrestling. It was I liked the addition of FTR because they actually they like the whole follow the rules thing. It looks more like tag team wrestling and less scramble. There was a scramble, but that was because they just got into a brawl, which made sense, you know.
And it was kind of like that point we talked about last week, Tucker, that you brought up is the clashing of styles, really. Like the showman and the Young Bucks, and then the traditional FTR, and kind of was their demise here in this.
Well, and you could see that it was an issue, and they did have coordinated spots. They were trying to figure it out. The Young Bucks were trying to comply a little bit more with the rules. FTR was trying to be a little bit more fluid within the rules. So yeah, I thought it was fun. I thought they were gonna. I was a little surprised that they won.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Ian.
It surprised me. Because I thought they wanted to have more, you know,
especially because it's kind of, and I'm gonna put air quotes over it, FTR's first pay-per-view match. I know they didn't lose technically because the Young Bucks ate the pin, right? The Young Bucks ate the pin. So I mean, obviously, you're going to continue with FTR and the Young Bucks.
Yes, of course.
Lucha Bros now, like we said earlier, are going to get a match against. Why am I blanking on who they have a match against next week?
FTR?
FTR, that's right. So
that is going to be a good match, too.
It's going to be another. So next week you have that. You have Sonny Kiss versus Cody, and you have Moxley versus Cage. So
what other? There's another match. Is it the women's championship?
Nyla might have a match. I don't know. Maybe.
I think Nyla has a match. That's what it was.
She gets a match all the time.
Is she announcing her manager next week?
Oh, yeah, that's probably what's going on there.
Yeah.
Any idea who the manager might be?
Who cares?
No, I don't care. I'm not a fan of Nyla.
I'm going to go with Brandy Rhodes because she's not on TV.
No. Nope.
She's not on TV.
She's with she's doing the thing with
she's doing dark stuff with American Nightmare Family or whatever.
The American Sister, or what is it? Nightmare Sisters. They're calling
Collective?
it. Allie. Her and
Oh,
Allie.
her
They're
and
doing
Allie.
a thing because they're doing a whole backstory right now with Allie is QT Marshall, and her, and they're all freaking out because she's like, she's trying to backstab us or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting, I guess. But
I know Dark is another option to watch for AEW, but
it's more casual.
Squash matches.
It depends.
Essentially, right?
Some of them are. There was
most are.
Yeah. It's
like it's very predictable.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's a knock because they have another option, but I would personally like if they had a second show, whether that be an hour. It could be an hour. That's fine with me, but I need another show because there's a lot of guys that especially now, they have a lot of talent on that roster, and Dark is kind of just squashed.
It's their development right now because that Ricky Starks. I don't know if you've seen him.
Yeah,
I am a fan of him too. Him after I didn't know him before Cody's match. I didn't know like his indie stuff, and I watched it. I'm like, yeah, this guy could go. He had a match with I don't know who
one
it
of
was.
the guys. On
one of the guys.
Peter Avalon.
No, but Peter Avalon and Brandon Cutler are having their own thing, which is pretty fun to watch.
Aren't they winless?
They're winless, but they're starting to click, and it's kind of fun to watch.
It's
fun because it's not if they're going to lose. It's like, oh, I hope they don't lose. It's God, I hope they don't win because it's really funny just to watch them lose.
So it's turning into what Kurt Hawkins was.
Yes, it was literally just, please don't win.
The streak, but
yeah.
The opposite of
yeah.
All right, main event time from night 2 of Fyter Fest. Orange Cassidy, freshly squeezed versus La Champion. Chris Jericho, as Ian gives the half-assed thumbs up for freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy. We got to see a different side of OC. More intense, more serious. He actually tried in this one, Ian. What were your thoughts on the main event?
Well, sadly, I had this out of all the leaks that were coming over last week. I had this leaked to me, which was awful. It was on my Twitter feed. So, I mean, I knew it was coming, but it was still a great match. That's when you know it's a good match, is when you know the result and you're still like, there's actually, maybe it was false, but.
Like that NXT Championship. That's
NXT
what
Championship.
talked about earlier.
Because, yeah. But it was a fun match to watch. I love watching Orange Cassidy's side of like a ruthless killer.
Yeah.
He genuinely like looked like he wanted to beat the crap out of
You
Jericho.
can cuss on this podcast.
Beat the
It's
shit
okay.
out of
He
Jericho.
has before, yeah.
Yeah,
I have. I did earlier.
He
He's
said, "Fuck
adapted
the
well.
world," and now he's
Yeah.
going to crap.
Yeah,
That was a slogan, all right?
Tucky, what were your thoughts on the main event here? Interesting dynamic with the entertaining. I mean, they're both super entertaining.
I think you got what you expected out of it. I didn't expect Orange Cassidy to win. I expected Le Champion to win, and he did. Thought it was a good match back and forth. I like the introduction of the orange juice to sabotage Orange Cassidy. Funny.
Yeah, Ortiz
Got
was
it.
sipping on it.
Yeah. So I just thought it was a fun, entertaining match. And how often can Orange Cassidy hit that next gear?
Well, that's what I was
When
going
does
to
he?
say.
Will he? Yeah.
I think this proves that Orange Cassidy can hang in the main event.
Yeah.
Like, if he can put on a match like this with arguably one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, Chris Jericho, I think Orange Cassidy eventually, maybe, could be an AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Is that a hot take?
TNT champion, yes. World
I'm
heavyweight
saying
champion,
World
no.
champion.
FTW champion? Does he beat Brian Cage? I don't know.
Oh, who cares?
I was just
Who
asking.
cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, who cares?
Ian, one question coming out of this main event. What's next for Chris Jericho?
I was literally just about to ask that. I have no idea. Like,
I'm
what
trying
can
to
they
think
do?
of stuff. Like, where do you
I-
go?
No idea. Do they keep running with the inner circle stuff?
Inner Circle needs to. We were talking about this last week too. They need to start picking up some momentum here. Like,
Yeah.
we need some W's.
I think Santana and Ortiz are going to start trying to carry him because
Yeah.
I love Chris Jericho, but it's arguably he's past his prime. You know,
Yeah,
he
for
still
sure.
puts on great shows.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but he's a lot older, as some may tell. But it's Santana and Ortiz right now, especially with the whole stuff that's going on with Sammy and now Hager is out, so Santana and Ortiz is going to have to step up, which they can. They can put on some
What
great
about
shows.
Santana and Ortiz being the next tag team champions?
I don't think
We're
so
looking for
yet.
heel
It's going to
teams.
be a while. It's going to be a while. I
Yeah.
think Best Friends and them are going to have something going on now, but I think it's going to be a while for them. But they're going to have to carry the inner circle at this point.
Yeah, I'd say so. Tuck, any ideas for Jericho going forward? We're gonna have to see how this one goes.
Colt Cabana. Just a
Doom,
random,
Order
Colt
feud?
Cabana.
just a random name that popped out off my head.
Do you guys like the Dark Order stuff with Colt Cabana?
Nope.
You guys don't like it.
I don't mind it.
I said no. That's not both of us.
Yeah, don't throw me into that.
Come on.
I mean, I'm okay with it. It may, like we talked about it last week. Like, it kind of makes sense because what else is Colt Cabana going to do?
Exactly. I feel like they had to do something with like a not going to say top tier, but like a mid tier
Babyface.
Yeah, they had to do something with the guy. I was like, I
Is he
personally
in the
like
Dark
it.
Order now?
No,
He's
I don't think officially, but
still
officially,
still recruiting. Yeah.
he
yeah,
hasn't fully committed to the cult.
yeah.
So,
But it is good. It is great storytelling. I love Brody Lee. He's a great storyteller.
yeah. I was going to say, any final remarks on AEW as a whole? I know we got you here for a little bit, so you got any thoughts running around your head? It could be about wrestling in general, just the WWE, the state of the main roster.
I hate social media. That's all I gotta say. Social media blows when it comes. They starting to ruin wrestling. It's you gotta love, or at least the competition between AEW and NXT.
Yeah.
Because I'm not much of an NXT guy. I'm not. That's not me like throwing shade at them. It's literally I just haven't found any spark that really grabbed my attention. I did for a little while. I like to watch it every now and then, but it's everything. Social media just tries to find any reason to bash AEW or NXT.
Yeah,
either
their
way.
fans respect
Both are bad. Both are pretty bad.
That's why I tweeted the other day. I was like, you could be a fan of
Yeah,
both.
you could it's enjoy it while you can.
It's
least.
wrestling, just like if a basketball game, like the tournament they're doing on TV right now. I don't know what it's called, the TBT tournament with basketball.
Yeah.
I watch that. It's basketball. It's wrestling's
Yeah.
on TV. I'm going to
Yeah.
watch wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good.
Give
point.
it a shot at least.
No, I agree with you there, Tucky. Any final remarks?
No, dude, I'm good. I thought it was a good episode. Thanks to Ian for coming on again.
Yeah, Ian, you want to plug anything real quick?
Yeah. Any
I
plugs?
have nothing to plug, man.
You don't Twitch stream anymore?
I used to, not anymore. I ain't got the internet for that.
The Couts internet is.
Yeah, it's back.
It's a different.
Hey, catch me in a couple months. I'm back on it. Back on that grind.
Yeah. Okay, well, next week we're going to talk about the horror show at Extreme Rules coming up. Tuck, the four-way title is on the line.
So wait, right now, who is the world champ? Are we still
all of us?
All four? What? No, it should be because we were going into that pay-per-view, me and you.
Oh, so
as
we
champ.
retained.
So we retained if they were
a tie. Yeah.
So yeah, me and you are still OTM World Heavyweight Champions.
Can't wait to finally win it on my own. It's going to be nice.
I got that belt right now. Tuck could win that belt whenever the next takeover is.
Yep.
But I'm looking to grab his. So
Who's the babyface? Who's the heel in this?
Oh, come on.
He's the heel. He's
okay.
He's
yeah. I was gonna say let's let you decide that.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a fair point.
All right, everybody. Until next time, thank you for listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.
Thanks for listening to the On the Mark Podcast.
Brock Lesnar going for an F5 to Cena for the championship. Lesnar with the cover.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information and updates, make sure to follow us on Twitter at Pod on the Mark. Pod on the Mark.